everyone, if you're looking for a fun, relaxed, and relatable conversation, you're in the right place. Let's begin the conversation around something not everyone is prepared for, including myself. It's almost like a vaccination, and life हर किसी को इसका एक डोज जरूर देता है. I'm talking about, does our failed plans make us a failure? Hello, this is Vijeta and you're watching Hi on Life. If you like this episode, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. So let's begin this conversation with a story. This is the story of a girl, let's call her Lisa, alright? So she is a very good student, and by good student, I'm going to give you the very conventional definition. She respects her parents, her teachers, she is good in academics, she is active in sports, literary, cultural activities. She just takes all the conventional definition of being a good student. Her parents are fond of her, her teachers love her. Good student, right? Just like anybody else, she also had so many plans for herself. But remember, she's a good student, and when you say good student, isn't it an unwritten rule that good students do end up taking science? So was her plan. She wanted to take up science, and more specifically, she wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. Ask me why? Because it's one of the most respectable jobs, A. Number B, it's a very conventional and a safe job. Nobody is going to question you that why do you want to become a doctor? It's respected by the society, it's acceptable to everybody. So why not become a doctor? वैसे भी लड़कियों का तो होता ही, अगर साइंस लेते हैं लड़का इंजीनियर बन जाता है, लड़की डॉक्टर बन जाती है. It's again such a unwritten rule in our society. But anyway, she wanted to be a doctor. She completes her class 10, enters class 11, take up science as planned. Now, anybody who is a science student would completely agree with me कि जो पढ़ाई का अमाउंट होता है इन क्लास 9 and 10 उससे कई गुना ज़्यादा, एटलीस्ट 3 to 4 times more स्टडी कॉन्सेप्ट होता है क्लास 11 and 12 में. नॉट जस्ट दैट, यू हैव टू कोप अप विथ सो मेनी थिंग्स. स्टडी का प्रेशर तो होता ही है बिकॉज इंटेंसिटी बढ़ जाती है, सिलेबस बढ़ जाता है, सब कुछ बढ़ जाता है. बट देन एट द सेम टाइम यू नीड टू कोप you need to prepare, to be more specific, you need to prepare for your boards, for your entrance, attend your classes, school classes, attend your coaching classes. बंदे को अपने लिए टाइम ही नहीं मिलता है when you end up taking science, and it's such a cutthroat competition. So she, as per the plan, she has taken up science, and when she went into it, she was like, हर कोई बोलता है कि क्लास तुम साइंस ले लो, लाइफ सेट. This life set sentence is such a misleading sentence because every time you aim towards that direction of setting your life and you realize that भाई साहब ऐसा तो है नहीं. So she took up science, she went for her coaching institutions, she wanted to be a doctor, she was preparing for being a doctor, but nobody really prepared her for the intensity of study that needs to be done. And as a young mind, it is very difficult to understand what is happening to her and going through her. And then she started asking questions to herself. Was it the right decision taking up science? Because she had seen a lot of her friends who planned to take up science but then ended up dropping science because for obvious reason, and that is very understandable because at that point of time you go through a lot of emotions when you make the shift from class 10 to 11, and it's not easy. It's not easy being a student at all, and I'm sure each and every one of you are going to agree to me. So her first plan of taking up science or being a doctor थोड़ा सा तो डगमगा गया कि was that the right choice? But she did not give up. साइंस लिया है, लाइफ तो सेट हो ही जाएगा किसी न किसी तरीके से. Also, she took up all the 4 subjects, PCM and biology, because obviously she had to study medical, or maths चाहिए होगा because otherwise you can't understand physics. So, and also it's a very Indian mentality that you take all the 4 subjects, जो होता है तुम बन जाओगे, जो मिलेगा वो तुम बन जाओगे. Like you have both your options open of joining medical or engineering, and for some reason Her parents think we are just brilliant students. I don't know why. But anyway, coming back to the story, she completed her class 11 with decent marks. But the struggle of being a science student was still there, right? Like coping with four humongous subjects, PCM, biology, sites. क्लास 12 में जब वो गई उसका दिमाग खुला. शी वॉज लाइक मेडिकल के सीट्स होते हैं 78,000 के आसपास पूरी इंडिया में. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस. 78,000 के आसपास ऑलरेडी. इंजीनियरिंग का सीट्स होता है 16 lakhs. सो यू डोंट रियली हैव टू बी गुड इन मैथ्स टू अंडरस्टैंड कि प्रोबेबिलिटी कहाँ पे ज़्यादा है. ऑल्सो अगर इंजीनियरिंग पे फोकस किया जाए तो बायोलॉजी का एक सब्जेक्ट कम पढ़ना पड़ेगा. तो हर फर्स्ट प्लान फेल्ड ऑफ बीइंग ए डॉक्टर. शी वॉज लाइक लेट्स गो इनटू इंजीनियरिंग. प्रोबेबिलिटी ज़्यादा है, सब्जेक्ट कम हो जाएंगे. Probably it's a wiser choice to make. And she shifted her focus from preparing for medical to preparing for engineering. But what was the second failure? She couldn't clear the first attempt of her engineering exams. So the second failure had hit her pretty bad because she had anticipated about her going to an engineering college so much that she could not bring herself into accepting the fact that A, she had failed in the first attempt, and B, she was not mentally ready to take up BSc because she had seen herself always into that engineering college in this 1 year of preparation after she had shifted her focus from medical to engineering. So hence, she decided to drop a year, prepare well for the examination, and then try it again. So she did. She dropped a year. She worked very, very hard to clear the exam, and then she did. She did clear the exam in the second attempt, and she got into a government engineering college. And so now her life as an official engineering student had begun. But एक interesting fact बताओ, आधे से ज़्यादा engineering students engineering college में जाने के बाद उनको realize होता है कि hey, was I meant for engineering? If I really wanted to be an engineer? Who knows? So something very similar happened to her. You know, because the reason I'll tell you. बहुत से कम ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो who takes up engineering because they actually want to be an engineer. They want to contribute to the society. They have the kira of like being an engineer. But for a lot of people, the motivation is it's a comparatively easy way out because if we get into a government engineering college, companies come to your campus for job. So there is a sense of job security at the end of the day, and the competition is much less because अगर कॉलेज के बाहर से किसी कंपनी में जॉब लेना होता आप लाखों applicants के against compete करते हैं. But in college you compete against some thousand number of students. So of course competition level काफ़ी कम हो जाता है. But that doesn't mean that it's easy getting a job from a engineering college because everybody is a good student, and like 1,000 good students is equivalent to lakhs of normal students. So the competition is still there, but then there is that sense of job security ki campus में आते हैं companies to select students. So for a lot of students that becomes the reason, like that you can see as the glamorous part of being an engineering student. But a very few of them are prepared to actually go through the engineering process, and something very similar had happened to her. So when she went into the engineering college, again, you prepare for something, and if you prepare with the wrong reason, you end up getting disappointment, and that's very frustrating. So when she went to the engineering college, she had seen that engineering college is nothing as described in movies or as described in her coaching institute by her teachers. Keep life set. Life is never set. But anyway, again, the intensity of study becomes much higher because there is no syllabus. Questions कहीं से भी आ सकते हैं. And आधे से ज़्यादा engineering college के बच्चे prepares for UPSC, SSC, banking, MBA, and you invest a lot of money, a lot of time into engineering college just to realize that you have to do everything by yourself because the course structure is such that there is a huge gap between industrial requirement and what is taught academically. So you invest a lot of money, a lot of energy to realize that कॉलेज से कुछ नहीं होगा, जो भी करना है सब खुद से ही करना है. So you see there is a huge gap between the reality and the kind of picture that the engineering aspirant are shown. So that is another factor for disappointment. Well, but she continued on her journey thinking that, well, I'm here. If I go out with a job, probably life is going to get better. Life set ho sakta hai. And then she did get a job from the engineering college. And finally, her job life started. And we think this job life is the beginning of this new independent life. We are going to be at the top of our game using our skills. We are going to be rich. We will have vacations with our friends and families. But the reality is that we end up moving away from our friends and families because of our work, because of the placement of the offices. The money is technically no longer ours because now we are also responsible for a lot of things like supporting the family and all of that. Work-life balance, there is nothing called work-life balance in office, especially in Indian setup, because the company will give speeches that we care about our employees so much and then we care about their work-life balance and stuff. But if you go up to your managers to ask for leaves, or if you do not do overtime work, you're not considered ambitious enough, and that results in, or that affects your rating in an office, which impacts your promotion system and all of that. Meeting our own friends and families becomes an annual thing. We see our parents getting old, but we cannot, or we are not able to give as much time as we would like them to give. There is also office politics, and there are so many people who think that they deserve much more from the office and in their lives, but because of the office politics and rating system, that doesn't happen, and less deserving people probably get much higher rates, and as a result bigger promotions and all of that. So even working in an office environment, you will never ever achieve that life is set wala feeling, because there is always going to be some sort of frustration, some sort of disappointment in your lives, and you'll always have that question in your mind that this was not how I have planned my life, or this was not what I have signed up for. And that happens in every stage of her life, and even she was facing the same thing, irrespective of the fact that following all the conventional method, she had gotten a job and is starting a job life now. So how many of us can relate to Lisa, or how many of us are in the exact same situation as Lisa? I know that all of us make plans, all of us have expectations from ourselves, from our lives, but probably when we achieve it, we do have the question or the inner voice in our head that if that is what we really wanted, or if that is what we actually wanted in life and for ourselves. Now, for the story, just like anybody else, she is also into this routine. She is following, she has become a part of this routine. Now everybody must be wondering, oh okay, now as because this is a story, some twist is going to happen, some magical moment is going to happen probably, where she is going to leave her job and start something of her own, and then she achieves a dream of her life. I want the same for her, but not everybody is in that position to leave the job, or वो जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा वाला situation. Not everybody is able to do that, because there are so many people fighting so many things in their life. Probably they are repaying their loans, they need to support their family, they have younger siblings whose education needs to be sponsored. Life is always not a magic, but every person who continues on with their life despite the monotonous routine, despite the disappointments, are heroes of their lives. A big round of applause to each and every one of you for still going on, even if your plans have failed, even if you have faced disappointments in life. You're stronger than you think, and you should be proud of yourself. Because your heart knows it's not easy, and what it takes to face life. I'm gonna bid you goodbye on this positive note until we meet again next time. Till then, keep rocking, keep slaying.